Part 6. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 51. Chapter 51 Gao Yongxiu Monitoring. Xiao Shulan said gratefully, "Thank you very much, doctor." Xiang Chemin suddenly breathed a sigh of relief when he heard that the child was not injured elsewhere, but felt very distressed when he heard that the child would suffer again due to plastic surgery. After a while, Xiao Nianyi was also pushed out, and they followed her towards the ward. Suddenly, Xiang Chemin's phone rang. When she hung up the phone, Xiao Shulan saw that her face was very ugly and asked, "What's wrong?" "The people from the police station are calling me." "Let me go there." "Then let's go now." "But Nianyi here. She just had an operation. She still has anesthesia on her body and won't wake up for a while. There are nurses here. We must go and seek justice for Nianyi." "Okay, okay." Xiao Ningxun turned around and asked very politely, "Chu Yanyi, can you please send us to the police station again? Although they can take a taxi, it is definitely not as fast as taking a ready-made car." Chu Yanyi nodded, "Okay, let's go." The faces of the three of them were extremely grateful at the same time. Sitting in the car, Xiao Ningxun secretly made up his mind. When he Yuanhui graduates from high school, the first thing he will do is to ask him to learn a driver's license. It is really unlucky for him to have no car at home and no one who can drive. Convenient. When the four of them arrived at the police station, they heard a woman scolding them from a distance. "I asked you to stay up all night and sing and drink all night long. How many times have I told you that it's better now, but you're still a child. If you hurt someone, I'll see what you do in the future. We didn't do it on purpose. Who knew that when we just got off the overpass, we met the mother and daughter? The child had bad eyesight and stepped on the watermelon rind, so he fell down. That's right, from beginning to end, we never met them. Yeah, it's their own misfortune." Xiang Chemin listened to the voices of those people shirking responsibility, and walked in angrily, shouting, "You have gone too far. Why are you so shameless? If you hadn't thrown watermelon rinds on the road, would my daughter have stepped on it? If you hadn't thrown the beer bottles on the ground, would my daughter's face have fallen on the beer bottle fragments? She is only 8 years old. The doctor said that she is disfigured. You have ruined her life." At this time, Xiao Ningxun also saw clearly who this group of people were. 1 woman and 3 men, all of whom looked to be about 20 years old. The hair on their heads was dyed in various colors, and their necks and wrists were covered with decorations. Both men and women wear several pairs of earrings on their ears. They are most likely college students who have just gone on summer vacation, or people who have just graduated from junior high school or high school and are socializing. Before Xiang Chemin rushed in, the 3 men were still crossing their legs and shaking, looking like they were not afraid of anything at all. "It's just that this woman, why does she look familiar? By the way, isn't this person Gao Yongxiu, a popular female star before she died in her previous life?" The 3 people next to her seemed familiar to her, but since she was staying with future stars, she would probably go into the entertainment industry in the future. She should have seen them on the news in her previous life. For a person with this kind of character to become a celebrity is simply ruining the social atmosphere. She took out her mobile phone, turned on the camera, held it to her chest, and quietly started recording. Several young people across the street saw the victims appearing and scolded them for being shameless. They couldn't stand it anymore. They grew up with a silver spoon in their mouths. When did they suffer such injustice? Gao Yongxiu stood up quickly and said dissatisfiedly, "We were walking well. It was your daughter who was unlucky enough to fall down. She didn't necessarily step on the watermelon rind. The overpass was originally made of floor tiles, and there were some tiles on them that came from who knows where. It's normal for children to slip easily due to water damage." The legs of the men stopped shaking and they stood up to defend themselves. That's right, it's none of our business. It has nothing to do with us. Don't try to blackmail us. Xiang Chemin was so angry that his whole body was shaking. You guys, don't you want to take responsibility? The woman next to me said, Madam, if we have something to say slowly, it is our responsibility, and we must bear it. In other words, if it wasn't their responsibility, she wouldn't have paid a dime. It's disfigured. I don't know how much it will cost to repair it in the future. Plastic surgery failures are also common. It's a bottomless pit. Chiao Ningxun looked at the policeman who happened to be walking by and said, Uncle policeman, you have surveillance cameras, we will know by looking at the surveillance cameras. The policeman said, the surveillance has been adjusted. Follow me. The group of people came to a computer. The policeman pressed play. In the picture, a woman and 3 men went on the overpass. Because of drinking, the 3 men were going crazy with alcohol. When they saw passers-by, they went up and yelled. However, everyone thought they were drunkards, ignored them, and tried to stay away from them. When they were about to get off the overpass, Xiang Chemin and her daughter were about to get on the overpass. After Gao Yongxiu finished eating the watermelon, she threw the rind forward, just 3 meters away from Xiang Chemin and her daughter. Gao Yongxiu seemed to be unable to bear the fact that the man next to her kept drinking from a beer bottle, so she snatched it away and threw it at the bottom of the stairs, right behind Xiang Chemin and her daughter. Following that, she snatched the beer bottles from the other 2 people and threw them to the same place. Xiang Chemin and his daughter paused in their footsteps, but they seemed to not want to cause trouble, so they did not scold them. The man who was robbed immediately became angry and wanted to hit Gao Yongxiu. Gao Yongxiu didn't want to be beaten, so she ran forward. The 3 men chased her together. After a while, Gao Yongxiu met Xiang Chemin and her daughter. Xiang Chemin wanted to pull her daughter to hide towards her, but she didn't expect her daughter to hide to the right. But Jiao Nianyi suddenly stepped on the watermelon rind, slipped, and suddenly fell down the stairs. Xiang Chemin reached out hurriedly, but only had time to touch her daughter's clothes, and watched helplessly as her daughter rolled down the stairs of the overpass. When Jiao Nianyi's body stopped rolling, her face happened to hit the broken glass bottle. It was the rush hour for work at that time, and there were many people on the road. A group of people passing by saw the movement and immediately surrounded him. The 4 of them saw that something was going on, so they turned around and wanted to run away. The frightened Xiang Chemin immediately stopped them and asked kind passers-by to watch and call the police. She quickly rushed down the stairs. After that, ambulances and police cars arrived and took people to the hospital and the police station respectively. The policeman glanced at the 4 people and said, "You still insist that you are right?" Gao Yongxiu frowned and said, "But we really didn't encounter them. It was the child who couldn't stand firmly and fell down on his own." A person chasing Gao Yongxiu also said, "Yes, I didn't want to hurt the child at all, and we didn't do it on purpose." End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 52. Chapter 52, Don't use the backer in vain. The policeman said angrily, "If it was not intentional, can we absolve ourselves of responsibility? Didn't you throw the watermelon rind? Didn't you throw the beer bottle? Aren't you the ones harassing passers-by on the road?" Facing the irrefutable evidence, the 4 of them could not deny it and fell silent. The policeman solemnly said, "The 4 of you must bear civil liability for compensation in this matter." The woman next to him looked at Xiang Chemin apologetically, "Sorry, I am their elder Lu Xinro. This matter is our fault. Don't worry, we will be responsible for the medical expenses." After Lu Xinro finished speaking, she took out 10,000 yuan in cash from her bag and said, "I'll give you these 10,000 yuan first. If you need money later, just come to us." Chiao Ningxun raised her voice and said, 10,000 yuan for ruining other people's faces? Are you sending beggars? Looking for you. When the time comes, you deliberately avoid seeing me. Aren't we the ones who have to suffer the most? Gao Yongxiu frowned and said, then how many do you want? Qiao Ningxun sneered and said, then you have asked the right person. I have only been discharged from the hospital for more than 10 days. I only received compensation from others a few days ago. I know best what kind of compensation I have to pay. Medical expenses, lost work expenses, food expenses, nursing expenses, nutrition expenses, transportation expenses, mental loss expenses, etc. And this time there is also a post-plastic surgery expenses. You want to send us away with only 10,000 yuan, do you really think we don't understand the law? She would not tell the numbers directly, lest others say they were extorting money. The faces of the 5 people across from him suddenly became extremely ugly. I didn't expect a teenage boy to understand so well. The policeman said, this matter is indeed your fault. It is normal for others to pay compensation. We just went to the hospital and asked, and there is no problem in other aspects. But with such a long wound, there is a lot of blood loss. Even if it can be restored to its original state through plastic surgery, it will cost a lot of money and suffer a lot also. The plastic surgery will have sequelae in the future. If you ruin someone else's life, even if you pay hundreds of thousands, it is normal. What, hundreds of thousands? Gao Yongxiu was immediately dissatisfied. The other 3 men also had expressions of reluctance. It is easy for people like them to come up with hundreds of thousands, but with their pocket money, it is simply not enough. Her parents will definitely be alarmed, and she will inevitably be scolded. Xiang Chemin clenched his fists. These people are really heartless. You don't want to? We'll see you in court then, Qiao Ningxun said slowly. You seem to be from the drama school. You all want to be stars in the future. If what happened today is found out in a few years, what do you think? Can your journey to stardom be smooth? The expressions of the 4 people changed at the same time. How did this person know that they were from the drama school? No, their career has not yet begun and must not be destroyed. Gao Yongxiu gritted her teeth and said, how do you know I'm from the drama school? Qiao Ningxun said calmly, I guess. Gao Yongxiu choked, knowing that the other party didn't want to say anything, so she had to ask, how much do you want? The other party knows that she is from the drama school, so he must know her, and this incident must not become a black history for her. The other 3 people also understood what she meant, which was to pay hush money. Xiang Chemin was about to speak when he saw Qiao Ningxun saying, you bid, if we are not satisfied, we will go to court to sue. Lu Xinruo rolled her eyes. These people were ordinary people, and the child only had injuries on his face. He could be sent away with at most 50,000 yuan. And with the financial resources of the 4 of them, it would not be difficult to suppress the news. Lu Xinruo was about to speak when suddenly a deep male voice came into her ears. It's actually a good idea to go to court. The 4 of them turned around and saw Chu Yanyi slowly walking towards them with elegant steps. Gao Yongxiu was immediately elated when she saw the person coming, with a hint of shyness on her face. The other 3 people couldn't help but straighten their backs. Although this man is the child of the Chu family who is least liked by his parents, he is the favorite grandson of the old man of the Chu family. Once he returned to the Chu family, the old man of the Chu family announced his existence in a high-profile manner, vaguely intending to make him the heir of the Chu family. Lu Xinruo's heart skipped a beat when she saw the visitor, and asked in confusion, Master Chu, why are you here? Chu Yanyi's eyes fell on Qiao Ningxun, and he said in a cold voice, send my friend's family over to handle the matter. Lu Xinruo secretly thought something bad. These poor ghosts are actually Chu Yanyi's friends. How can this be? Lu Xinruo asked again, are you a friend of the Qiao family? That's right. 4 young people looked weird. How could the aloof young master of the Chu family become friends with ordinary people? Although they were confused, they didn't dare to ask. The young master of the Chu family who just returned has a reputation for being difficult to mess with. Lu Xinro thought for a while, but had no choice. She turned to look at Xiangchemin. We know that the cost of plastic surgery is very expensive, so let's pay 200,000 yuan at a time to 4 people, each of whom will pay 50,000 yuan. Let's forget about it? Alright, how's it going? Xiangchemin couldn't make up his mind and turned to look at Jiao Shulan. Second sister, how about we wait until your brother comes back? Jiao Shulan didn't think so. The people on the other side were obviously afraid of Chu Yanyi, so they just paid the money now. Next time Chu Yanyi is not present, they will definitely play tricks again. Chu Yanyi has known them for a short time, so they would not bother Chu Yanyi for help next time. She asked her daughter out of nowhere, Ningxuan, do you think it's acceptable? Jiao Ningxuan gave Jiao Shulan a calm look, then turned around and said, we must sign an agreement. This 200,000 is only the initial treatment fee and recovery fee. If the 200,000 is not enough in the later period, for example, my cousin, if anything happens to my body again, you must provide unconditional financial support. In addition, after giving the money, you must apologize to my aunt for your rudeness just now. It is so difficult for ordinary people to earn 200,000 yuan now, and with her here, Jiao Nianyi does not need to spend money on plastic surgery, and there will be no sequelae. Don't let this money go to waste. She said this just because she didn't want these people to be too complacent and think that everything could be settled with money. With this matter always hanging over their heads, it is estimated that they will not dare to act as lawlessly as before in the future. It seems that Chu Yanyi's status is something these people can't afford to offend. Such a good backer should be used in vain. Jiao Shulan and her siblings nodded. Xiangchemin had no choice but to agree, okay, I will give you 200,000 yuan for the time being. Lu Xinro looked at the 4 young people and said, you came to Nanjing to play. I was entrusted by your parents to take care of you in Nanjing, so I came to deal with this matter. Apologize quickly. You can pay for the 200,000 by yourselves to save money and eliminate disasters. The 4 of them looked reluctant. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 53. Chapter 53 Apology in lieu of thanks. Chu Yanyi glanced at the 4 people opposite him coldly, and suddenly said, it is only natural to pay back debts. The 4 of them had no choice. They did not dare to offend the Chu family, so they could only bend down and apologize to Xiangchemin at the same time. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that just now. I'm sorry, what happened this time was my fault. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I'm sorry, I know I was wrong, please forgive me. Xiangchemin ignored them. They were willing to apologize, but she didn't say she had to forgive them. When the 4 of them saw this, they were dissatisfied, but in front of the police, they could only swallow their breath and call their families to ask their parents to send money. The police had some words with Jiao's family and began to prepare an agreement. It is said that the richer people are, the stingier they are. Although their parents were reluctant, they could only send money when they heard that Chu Yanyi was there. His company all wants to cooperate with the Chu family, and now they dare not leave a bad impression on the Chu family. Half an hour later, the 2 parties signed an agreement, and Xiangchemin's bank card received 200,000 yuan in 4 installments. Looking at the balance on the bank card, Xiangchemin breathed a sigh of relief, hoping that the money could really cure her daughter in the future. Stayed at the police station for a while, and an hour later, the Chiao family got into Chu Yanyi's car. Before the car started, Xiang Chemin said gratefully, "Mr. Chu, thank you very much for what happened today." Chiao Ningxun frowned. Sure enough, she was not the only one who felt that Chu Yanyi was too anxious to grow up. "Obviously I am only 18 years old, but I am already called sir." Chu Yanyi didn't take it seriously and said, "It's okay, it's just a matter of hands." Xiang Chemin saw that he was about to drive, so she didn't want to disturb him anymore. She would come to the door in person with her things to say thank you another day. Soon after, the group returned to the hospital. Qiao Nianyi's anesthesia has not worn off yet and she has not woken up yet. Seeing that her daughter was still asleep, Xiang Chemin turned around and said, "Second sister, thank you very much for today. If you hadn't arrived, I really wouldn't have been able to withstand those people by myself." Qiao Shulan said, "We are all one family, don't say such polite words." Xiang Chemin nodded, and she would thank her second sister properly in the future. She looked at Chu Yanyi again and said solemnly, "Mr. Chu, I'm really troubling you. I've delayed you for so long. I wonder where you live. Our family will come to visit you in person to say thank you someday." Chu Yanyi glanced at the time on his watch, turned his head, and his eyes fell on Chiao Ningxun again. "It's okay to come and say thank you. I'm hungry too. It's boring to eat alone. Why don't you let Miss Chiao do it? Please give me a meal as a thank you." This. Xiang Chemin was a little hesitant. How could she let her niece thank her on her behalf? Qiao Shulan then remembered that her daughter had followed her to the city before she had breakfast, but she couldn't refuse Chu Yanyi, so she had to look at her daughter and ask for her opinion. "Ningxun, why don't you treat Mr. Chu to a meal, bar?" Given Chu Yanyi's status and having just gone to the police station together to show their faces, he should not be able to harm his daughter. Seeing that the second sister agreed, Xiang Chemin quickly took out a stack of red notes from his wallet and stuffed it into Chiao Ningxun's hand. "Then please thank Mr. Chu on behalf of my aunt." Chiao Ningxun was not polite, took the money and nodded, "Okay." The two got into the car together and left the hospital. Chu Yanyi held the steering wheel tightly, looked straight ahead, and asked, "Do you want to sell your fungi?" "Chiao Ningxun, let's go to Junhang Square. I'll go find the person in charge of the supermarket on the first floor of Junhang Square. I'll treat you to a meal by the way." Going to Jungsuan for dinner should not be regarded as a disgrace to Chu Yanyi's identity. Ken. After a little while, Du Penkin received a call from Chiao Ningxun and quickly came to the underground parking lot. Seeing that the big boss was actually with Chiao Ningxun, he was stunned. Don't big bosses usually wear masks to show off to others? How could it happen today? Sure enough, the relationship between the big boss and Chiao Ningxun is definitely unusual. Du Kunpeng was about to say hello to Chu Yanyi, but was stopped by his cold eyes. Du Kunpeng understood it and only regarded him as the person he met for the first time today. Chu Yanyi is very satisfied with Du Kunpeng's performance and is worthy of being one of his confidants. Chiao Ningxun didn't notice anything strange about Du Kunpeng, and said with a smile, "Uncle Du, I'm causing trouble for you. We can't bring this up to disturb your guests, so we have to call you down. It's these Matsu take mushrooms. How much do you think these are worth?" Chu Yanyi has always been by her side. Although she wants to make more money, it is difficult to take out the money in the space. Du Kunpeng smiled kindly and said, "Miss Chiao, you're welcome." After speaking, he lowered his head and took a closer look at the Matsu take mushrooms. Even in the underground parking lot, there is enough light. He can clearly see that the quality of today's Matsu take seems to be better than yesterday's. Du Kunpeng said excitedly, "This was picked today too?" Yes. Looking at his expression, Chiao Ningxun knew that today's money was stable. "Do you still need it?" "You need it, of course you need it," Du Kunpeng said with a smile. "Today's quality is even better than yesterday's. How about I give you 1,101 kilograms? The mushrooms collected yesterday were quickly sold out in Junhua. There were still many people who had not bought any and were very dissatisfied with him. Those people were all wealthy people and regular visitors to Junhang. He didn't dare to offend any of them, so he had to tell them next time, and they let him go. He never thought that Jiaoningsun could find so many more in such a short period of time. It's better now, he doesn't have to offend anyone anymore. Jiaoningsun nodded. The price given by Uncle Du is naturally the most reasonable. Okay. Du Kunpeng hurriedly invited them to the office. He did not dare to let his boss wait for him here. He then ordered people to bring the scales to the office and weigh them in front of them. After a while, Du Kunpeng saw the numbers on the scale clearly, turned around and said politely, "The total is 40 caddies, 1,101 caddies, so the total is 44,000. After receiving the transfer, Jiaoningsun and Chu Yanyi left the office together. The two of them arrived at the food court on the 5th floor. Jiaoningsun asked as he walked, "Chu Yanyi, what do you want to eat?" Chu Yanyi said without thinking, "Let's have seafood hot pot." Jiaoningsun was stunned. Is a young master from a rich family so down to earth? Seafood hot pot is what she likes. She hasn't eaten seafood in a long time. Is it just hot pot? That's right. All right. There happens to be a hot pot restaurant in the distance, and it's the kind of restaurant where each person has one pot. It's clean and hygienic. The two of them chose a quiet corner to sit down, each ordered a portion of the pot base and a bunch of dishes. Out of politeness, Jiaoningsun asked Chu Yanyi to order. Chu Yanyi was not polite, took it over and ordered a bunch of what he liked. Jiaoningsun was watching him from the side, and he had to look at the price at the end of the order, and his heart suddenly throbbed and hurt. End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 54. Chapter 54 Luck Physical Examination. As expected, he is a young master from a wealthy family. Whatever is more expensive. What he ordered was enough for his family to live on for several months. But she took out Jungsuan's membership card, and she didn't know if it could be used here. After Chu Yanyi ordered the dishes, he saw Jiaoningsun's expression of pain on his face and raised his eyebrows. What? Are you feeling distressed? Jiaoningsun nodded honestly, but immediately realized that this was too rude. He put on a wealthy look and said, "No, I don't feel bad. It's so easy for me to make money. I just made tens of thousands more. You're welcome. Whatever you like, I have money. If I don't have any money, I will sell mushrooms again." The more she talked, the redder her face became. She was rich, but the other party was richer than her. Chu Yanyi nodded and said with a teasing look on his face, "Okay then, I'll order another bottle of wine." With his status, he will definitely order expensive wine. Jiaoningsun hurriedly said, "Aren't you going to drive later?" Chu Yanyi pretended to be surprised and said, "That's right." "Then don't drink it. Just drink some juice." Jiaoningsun suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at her frantic look, Chu Yanyi's eyes were full of smiles. "Sure enough, I still love money as much as I did then." Chu Yanyi pretended to be puzzled and said, "Listening to your tone, why do I think it is easy for you to find fungi? Take the Matsu take just now. Most people may not encounter one for several years. Why can you find it so quickly? How many kilograms?" Jiaoningsun didn't panic at all when he heard this, and looked calm. "Maybe it's because I'm lucky." Chu Yanyi said, "Then you can be regarded as the luckiest person I have ever seen." Soon, the waiter served the food. Chu Yanyi didn't ask any more questions, and the two of them started eating. At the same time, Yan's villa. Yan Rufeng asked the housekeeper, "Did the young master call back today to say he bought some fruit?" The housekeeper shook his head, "No, but the second young master seemed to have listened to the first young master yesterday and went to buy a lot of vegetables." Yan Rufeng lost interest when he heard this and asked, "Aren't you busy at work today? Are you at home during the day?" The housekeeper said, "Yes, I heard that he was making up for his leave. He worked overtime for a long time some time ago and needs to rest at home for a while before going back to work. Okay, let's stop cooking too much in the kitchen and just cook a few dishes." "Yes." Just as he was waiting for the dishes to be served, Yan Rufeng took a deep breath and asked suspiciously, "Has there been a new chef in the kitchen?" while smelling the aroma of today's dishes. The steward shook his head, "Not really." Yan Jiaxuan came down from upstairs and went directly to the restaurant, smelling the smell all the time. "What is something delicious cooking in the kitchen today? Why does it smell so good?" Mrs. Yan came out of the kitchen, brought out the last plate of dishes, and said with a smile, "These are the dishes. You guys are such noses. You can smell them from so far away. Come and eat." The two of them didn't waste any more time, quickly picked up their chopsticks and started eating. Yan Rufeng took a bite of the sweet and sour lotus white and kept nodding, "It's delicious. Vegetarian dishes are also so delicious. It's so delicious." Yan Jiaxuan took a bite of the stir-fried green beans and praised, "It's delicious, so delicious." Mrs. Yan was very happy to see her husband and son eating so happily. "If it's delicious, eat more." The two of them ate even more happily after hearing this. After a while, Yan Rufeng was finally full. He touched his belly and said, "Today's cook is very good at cooking. Call him here and I'll ask him if he has hidden any secrets before." The steward nodded and immediately went to call someone. Chef Lu came over quickly and asked respectfully, "Sir, madam." Yan Rufeng asked, "Did you add any special seasoning to today's dish?" Yan Jiaxuan's face suddenly turned ugly when he thought that adding something special would indeed make the food more delicious. He has to go for an inspection. If the cook is really up to something, he must be fired immediately. Chef Lu shook his head, "Today's dishes were all made under Madam's eyes. Madam knows what seasonings are added, and they are still cooked as before." Yan Rufeng frowned when he heard this. This is strange. Then why is today's food so delicious? Had it not been that his stomach couldn't hold it, he would have wanted to eat a few more dishes. At this moment, Yan Rufeng's cell phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was his eldest son. He quickly connected the phone and turned on the speakerphone. "What's the matter, boss?" Yan Jiaxi asked, "How was today's food? Is it delicious?" "The whole family had a meal yesterday, so the dishes bought from Chiao's house could only be put in the refrigerator temporarily and eaten today." Yan Rufeng nodded, "It's delicious, just like loquat, it fascinates me." Yan Jiaxuan guessed that it was his eldest brother who cooked it, and said beside him, "Brother, today's food is really delicious, but I think it tastes abnormally good." Yan Jiaxi breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile, "If you are worried, you can come to the hospital for a physical examination, or you can bring those vegetables for identification. I guarantee there will be no problem." Hearing the tone of his son's words, Yan Rufeng asked, "Boss, do you know what's going on?" "Well, these vegetables are sold by the family that sells loquats. The loquats they grow are so delicious, so it's normal for the vegetables to be delicious." Yan Jiaxuan suddenly realized, "Yes, these vegetables are sold by the family that sells loquats. But why is the food grown by that family so delicious?" Although Yan Rufeng loves to eat, he obviously feels that something is wrong with this matter. "Okay, boss, you wait at the hospital. I will go there with my family right away." On the other side, Xiao Ningxuan and Chu Yanyi finished their hot pot and went to pay the bill. They handed over their membership cards and asked, "Can I use this?" The cashier took the card with a formulaic smile on his face, "Okay." Xiao Ningxuan breathed a sigh of relief, "Then let's settle the bill. She can save half the money." Chu Yanyi handed the card over and said, "Swipe mine." "Yes, guest." Before Jiaoningsun could stop him, the cashier had already finished swiping his card. Didn't I agree that I would like to thank you for the treat? Chu Yanyi said seriously, I am a man, how can I ask a girl who is still studying to pay me money? If the word spreads, I don't have to be a human being. Next time you have a chance, you can invite me again. Jiaoningsun. Then you still want me to treat you? You also specifically ordered expensive ones, were you trying to scare me? Chu Yanyi took back the card and returned the membership card to her. Looking at her confused expression, he curled his lips and said, let's go, I'll take you back. Jiaoningsun was stunned. Is this person laughing? Thinking about it, she expressed her inner thoughts, you look so beautiful when you smile. The smile on Chu Yanyi's lips became even bigger, thank you for the compliment. However, Jiaoningsun is not someone who doesn't know how to be polite. She also wanted to buy an alchemy furnace and other pharmaceutical tools, so she refused Chu Yanyi's offer to give them to her. Chu Yanyi asked, do you have other things to do? End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Chen. Chapter 55. Chapter 55 Pharmaceutical Tools Qin Tadian. Jiaoningsun thought that her medicine would also need customers in the future. Chu Yanyi was also an ordinary person and would definitely need medicine in the future, so she expressed her thoughts. Self-taught medicine, alchemy furnace, making medicine. Jiaoningsun nodded, yes, I have learned to identify all the medicinal materials. I also have patients at home. I want to try making medicine by myself. I see, I know a good place there are special tools for making medicine there, as well as an alchemy furnace, come with me. After Chu Yanyi finished speaking, he walked directly to the elevator without waiting for Jiaoningsun to refuse. Jiaoningsun was stunned, how could this person trust her so much? After getting in the car, Jiaoningsun suddenly asked seriously, Chu Yanyi, shouldn't most people be suspicious when they hear that a 16-year-old man teaches himself medicine and refines medicine? Why do you believe it so easily? Chu Yanyi started the car and said calmly, I have no prejudice against people's age, nor do I have the stereotyped ideas of ordinary people. In some places in this world, there are always things that many ordinary people cannot understand. For example, there are people who can cultivate immortality now. Jiaoningsun frowned. Chu Yanyi always gave her the feeling that he was like an old monster who had lived for many years. Not long after, the two came to a commercial street, and Chu Yanyi parked the car on the side of the road. Jiaoningsun got out of the car, glanced around, and asked doubtfully, is there anyone selling medicine tools here? This is a place where luxury goods are sold. Chu Yanyi nodded, yes, you will understand after you follow me. Soon, the two of them stopped at the door of a shop. As soon as they arrived at the door, the automatic sensor door opened automatically and the two of them quickly entered. After entering, an old man quickly came out from the counter and said excitedly, Mr. Chu, I wonder why you are here this time. Jiaoningsun frowned. Chu Yanyi was 18 years old. This old man looked like he was 70 or 80 years old at first glance. How could he be so polite to an 18-year-old young man? No, you are still looking after a store in your 70s or 80s. You, old man, must be working too hard. Chu Yanyi seemed to understand the meaning in Jiaoningsun's eyes, and took the initiative to explain, I did him a favor before, and we have been friends for many years. His surname is Qin, and his name is Tadian. You can call him Grandpa Qin. Jiaoningsun nodded, hello, Grandpa Qin, my name is Jiaoningsun. Qin Tadian smiled, hello, little friend. The corners of Jiaoningsun's mouth twitched, kid. That's right, to people in their 70s and 80s, she is just a child. Chu Yanyi quickly stated his purpose. Qin Tadian didn't ask any more questions. After inviting the two of them to sit down in the reception area, he ordered people to bring everything. Xiaoningsun also took this time to carefully look at the store in front of him. It's similar to an ordinary store, but what's on display here are all kinds of antiques and jade-like items. I don't know if those things are all antiques. If they are all real, it would be normal for them to appear on this luxury street. Soon, several young people took all the things they needed and placed them on the table. Qin Tadian said, "That's it? Do you think it's enough?" Xiaoningsun stepped forward and took a closer look. There were actually all the things needed to make medicine, including alchemy furnaces, silver needles, etc., and even medicine pots. They were all placed in a large wooden box. There were dozens of tools in total. Especially the appearance of the alchemy furnace, which was very similar to the one she had seen in the history museum before. Chu Yanyi asked, "Are these enough?" "Enough, of course it's enough, but..." Xiaoningsun looked embarrassed. "These things look good at first glance, they should be expensive, right?" Chu Yanyi said, "I stored these things here. You are a student doctor, if you can cure one of my elders, I can give it to you for free." These are all yours. Right. Your elder? Could it be that he is the old man who lives in my house and is recuperating from illness? That's right. Xiaoningsun took a look at those things and knew at a glance that they were expensive. She felt really bad that they were being used for free like this. After a while, she said, "I really have a hard conscience if you want me to use it for free. How about this? I bought these for you and you pay a price. When I really cure your elder, that I'll sell you the medicine again. It doesn't have to be so troublesome. If you want to do this, I won't dare to accept it. I'd better buy it elsewhere." Chu Yanyi was very helpless. Her character was still as stubborn as before, so she had to compromise. "Okay, just give me 10,000 yuan in total." Xiaoningsun immediately smiled and readily transferred the money. Rich people should not do business at a loss. It seems that she made a mistake. These things are only worth 10,000 yuan. She was very confident in herself and promised, "Don't worry, I will definitely cure that old man." The space manual said that with the magic in hand and the space medical book, any disease can be cured. Even if you have one foot in the gate of hell, you can steal people from the hands of the Lord of Hell. Good. Chu Yanyi waited for Xiaoningsun to pack those things and then sent her home. Xiangchaman has two children, a son and a daughter, and a 6-year-old son named Xiaonianhe. When I sent my daughter to dance school, my younger son hadn't woken up yet. Xiao Shulan just called Xiaoningsun and said that she was worried that her child would be scared to be alone at home, so she took the initiative to take care of Xiaonianhe. After getting out of the car, Xiaoningsun told Chu Yanyi not to leave for the time being. She went back to the yard, and then quickly came out with a basket of morels and matsutake mushrooms. They are all found on the mountain, free of charge. She cannot always accept others as a matter of course when they are helping her, and she should also give them gifts. Chu Yanyi did not refuse, and after accepting it, he returned to his home behind their house. As soon as Chiao Kongsheng came back from the field, he saw a lot of strange things in the living room. "Ningxuan, how is your physical examination going?" Yekaixiang also looked at her with worry. Xiaoningsun coughed lightly and said, "Grandpa, Grandma, don't worry, there's nothing wrong with me. Don't worry." The two of them felt relieved at the same time. Looking at the empty yard, Yekaixiang asked, "Where is your mother? Didn't she come back with you?" Xiaoningsun didn't panic at all, and said calmly, "The fourth uncle is on a business trip, and the fourth aunt happens to be busy. There are 2 children at home. My mother is not working now, so I went to help her take care of the children. It may take a few days. Come back again." What she said was half truth and half lie. Mom was indeed taking care of the children for her fourth aunt. Although you may not be able to hide it from the two elders forever, you can count it as a temporary thing if you can hide it for a while. Ye Kaixiang suggested, it's summer vacation anyway, why not bring the two children back? We also want to have two children. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Chen Chen. Chapter 56. Chapter 56 Seeds of Medicinal Materials. Xiao Ningxun shook his head. No, Miss Nian Yi has to go to several interest classes. It's not convenient for her to live in our place and go to and from the city. Makes sense. The two old men gave up the idea and had no doubts. But when I saw the things she moved into the house, I looked at one of them and asked, is this an alchemy furnace? Did you buy it? Xiao Ningxun hesitated for a moment and nodded, yes. Why did you buy the alchemy furnace? Refining medicine. Huh, the second elder suddenly opened his eyes. Xiao Kongsheng asked, can you make medicine? Have you studied medicine? Xiao Ningxun nodded, well, there are medical books among the books I've been reading these days. The two elders suddenly lost their composure. The granddaughter was not fascinated by anything. After reading some books, she felt that she had medical skills. If you kill someone, you will go to jail. Just when Xiao Kongsheng was about to speak, Ye Kaixiang gave him a wink. Ningxun is extraordinary, don't you know? Xiao Kongsheng instantly thought of the changes in his family during this period, and it was hard to say anything. Xiao Ningxun tidied up her things and went to the yard to take a look. She really felt that it was not appropriate to make medicine in the yard. In case of a few bare children, her efforts were put on the east. It is not possible to do it in space for the time being. If she wants to take out the medicine, she must refine it openly. Looking behind her, her eyes suddenly lit up. It's not possible in the yard, the roof of the building is just right. Anyway, there are a lot of tarpaulins on the roof, which is more than enough to build a medicine shed. With that in mind, she moved all her things to the roof of the building and began to build her makeshift pharmacy. From now on, whenever she is refining medicine, she will lock the door on the roof so that no one can see her. After a while, she spent money to build a pharmacy. The second elder saw his granddaughter running back and forth upstairs and downstairs. He was really curious and went upstairs to have a look. Seeing her setting up a medicine shed on the roof of the building, the second elder thought about it and took the initiative to help. Seeing this, Xiao Ningxun said with a smile, Grandpa, Grandma, don't worry, I will cure all your illnesses in the future. In the future, they will no longer suffer from terminal diseases and die early. She wants them to live a long life. Xiao Kongsheng said with a smile, okay, then Grandpa will be waiting. Ye Kaixiang also said, Grandma is waiting too. The other side. In the evening, everyone in the Yan family received the physical examination report and the test report of the dishes. There was no problem at all. At this time, Dr. Yan also came back and said with a smile, look, I said there is nothing wrong, but you still don't believe it. The Chiao family is an honest family. He heard a lot about their family in the hospital. If Chiao Shulan dared to tamper with the food, would she still have been bullied by her ex-husband? Can Chiao Shulan's parents still tolerate not paying child support for their 3 sons? If it were an ordinary person, they would have gone to court to sue their son. Yan Rufeng had a smile on his face, it seems they do have a few brushes for growing vegetables and fruits. Let's do this. From now on, we will buy all our vegetables from them. Mrs. Yan doesn't have any objections. If your family likes it, you can eat more. It's also good for your health. It's vegetables anyway, so you won't gain too much weight if you eat more. Yan Jiaxi said, I'm afraid that won't work. We can only go there when that family has vegetables. They don't grow much. Yan Rufeng's face suddenly felt a little disappointed, but he didn't force it. Okay, there's nothing we can do about it. Before Yan Jiaxi went to bed, thinking about Jiao Ningxun's difficult financial situation at home, she sent a message to the group. That girl is quite sensible and can help. The next day, June 13th. Jiao Ningxun spent the whole night studying pharmaceutical tools last night, and studied various prescriptions immediately to see what medicine she needed. Some medicines need to be concocted before they can exert their medicinal properties. She also used fairy magic to assist in the concocting. I have to say that the temperature control skill is really easy to use, and it is really easy to prepare medicinal materials. Although she had been busy all night, she still went to the mountain in the middle of the night. Since there were still a lot of fungi in her hands, when she went home, she collected a lot of medicine just like last time. Of course, she also brought back a sack of fungi. It was 6 o'clock at this time, and there were many people on the road hurriedly walking up the mountain to pick up fungi. Seeing Jiao Ningxun carrying a sack down the mountain again, those people were immediately envious. Lu Hehua went out with her neighbors and saw Jiao Ningxun returning with a full load. She stepped forward with a look of jealousy on her face. Ningxun, show us what good things you picked up today. A woman next to him also said, yes, we have been going up the mountain for 2 days and found nothing. Let us take advantage of your luck. Jiao Ningxun didn't want to talk to this ant at first, but when she saw her face twisting with jealousy, she put the sack on the ground with a curl of her lips, opened it and showed them. Okay, take a look, that's it. Lu Hehua and the others looked over and asked, what kind of fungus is this? Morels. How much can I sell for a pound? I can't comment on this, but if you really want to know, you can check it online yourself. Jiao Ningxun rolled her eyes at Lu Hehua, tightened her bag and left. The woman next to me mocked, Lu Hehua, that bag of fungi looks like it's worth a lot of money. You offended others so badly. Do you regret it now? Lu Hehua's face turned red when she was stabbed. When she saw the others looking at her with ridicule, she clenched her fists and gritted her teeth and said, huh, what do I have to regret? It's just some fungi, just sell them. I can't make a fortune even if it's dozens or hundreds. I might as well go to the city to work as a temporary worker, which will make more money than looking for fungi. After saying that, she walked back and stopped going to the mountain. Others burst into laughter. However, some people also felt that they had not found anything after 2 days of searching. After staying on the mountain for several hours and being covered in mosquito bites, they gave up and turned around and went home. Seeing that Jiao Ningxun had found so many fungi again, some people still wanted to try their luck and walked up the mountain. After Jiao Kongsheng and Yakaxiang got up, they saw the fungi in the yard and didn't say anything. After breakfast, Jiao Ningxun compiled a list of the herbs she was missing. It's just that the herbs in the Chinese medicine shops in the city have not been promoted by her magic. I heard that many medicinal materials are still cultivated and cannot be compared with wild ones, and the efficacy of the medicine will definitely be greatly reduced. What if someone else uses her medicine and the effect is not good, which affects her reputation? It would be great if the remaining medicines could be found in the wild. By the way, there is Zioha. Jiao Ningxun quickly searched a lot of pictures of the herbs she needed on the internet, and looked at the dog in the kennel with a smile. Zioha, come here. End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 57. Xiao Ha, who was sleeping, lazily opened his eyes and saw the deceptive look on her face, but did not move. If you don't go, there will be no good things done in the past. I don't want to be a cheap labor force. Jiao Ningxun had no choice but to coerce and induce. If you do me this favor, I will give you meat today, not just a few pieces, but a big lump. Otherwise, you won't even be able to eat dog food today. Little Ha snorted. If there is no dog food to eat, he will go to harm the livestock in the village. He will kill him first and then tell you to pay for it. However, it only dared to think this way, and stood up slowly and walked towards the new owner. Chiao Ningsun put the phone in front of Xioha with a happy face, and then swiped the picture. Go to the mountain and help me look for these medicines. After you find them, don't bring them back for me. Remember the location and notify me when you come back. No matter what you find, no matter how much, I will give you a pound of meat to eat at night. Little Haru has a hopeless expression, which is indeed up to no good. However, it was conscientious in its duties. It carefully remembered the appearance of those herbs, turned around and walked out the door. Chiao Ningsun smiled with satisfaction. It's really easy to do things with a dog. Now that the medicinal materials are not available, she cannot make the medicine. She had almost finished reading the textbook, so she continued to take out the space book and started reading. As soon as he got it, there was a thud from Chiao Kangshen's room next to him. She was worried that her two elders had fallen, so she hurried over and asked worriedly, "Grandpa, Grandma, what happened?" Chiao Kangshen looked apologetic. "It's okay, I scared you. I even forgot that this bed is broken. I just sat on it too hard and the bed broke again." Ye Kaixiang said disapprovingly, "It's okay, just hammer it with a nail and you can still sleep." "Good." Chiao Ningsun looked at the furniture in the whole room. Many of the furniture looked like they were from the 1980s and 1990s. Most people would have replaced them long ago. The beds that everyone in their family sleeps on now have no mattresses, only dry straw. A few years ago, people who specialized in selling mattresses came to the village, and many families in the village replaced them with spring mattresses. It's just their home, because everyone in the family is getting sick one after another, and they don't even have a decent piece of furniture or a decent appliance, let alone a mattress. The current electrical appliances in the house are probably the fan in the room and the rice cooker in the kitchen. Oh, if you include light bulbs and mobile phones, there are those too. This house was built in the 1990s. Later, when the two elders raised their 6 children, the 2 daughters and the younger son contributed some money, plus their savings, to add another floor and build a second floor for convenience. Guests come to stay. Although the first floor was built a long time ago, the quality is pretty good. At the beginning, they had no money to buy major appliances or anything like that, and they didn't even have a refrigerator like an ordinary person's home. Summer is here, how can we do without cold drinks? Now that she has money, there is no need for her family to live in such a miserable life. She thought for a while, and the floor at home could also be laid first. Now our homes are all made of concrete floors, which are difficult to clean. Even if they are cleaned, they will still look dusty and make you feel bad. She took out her mobile phone and searched online for merchants selling wooden floors. She hasn't found anyone in the flooring business under Junhua yet, and even if there is, such decoration products should not be half-priced. Soon, she found a merchant in the same city online, ordered an oak-colored floor, and told them the square footage of her home. The other party was very forthcoming and agreed to deliver and install it in the afternoon. She also knew that the floor tiles must be better and not afraid of water. The first floor is relatively humid and is not suitable for laying wooden floors. But wooden floors are faster, and experienced masters can install them within half a day, allowing you to move in quickly without staining the walls. This is also a temporary solution. When she has more money, she will replace it with floor tiles. No, maybe she can rebuild the house by then. But she can control the temperature and keep the wooden floor dry. She took another look at the sockets everywhere, said hello to her grandparents, and then went to the village chief's house. After a while, she came back, followed by 2 people. Chiao Kangshen was about to repair the bed when he saw someone coming with ladders, wires, and other tools. He asked doubtfully, Changfu, Changshao, what are you? Shui Changfu smiled and said, Uncle Kongsheng, your granddaughter said that your home circuit is too old and she wanted us to renovate it. No, we have nothing to do, so we came here. Chiao Ningxun smiled and said, I haven't been recuperating at home recently. I felt that I was idle, so I wanted to buy a TV for us to watch together, but there was no socket in the living room, which was a bit troublesome, so I went to ask if the village chief has electricians in the village. I will go and invite them. Their family was really poor before. When Chiao Kongsheng and Ye Kaixiang were young, they were prone to getting sick every month and then getting sick every few months. In addition to raising 6 children, all the money I earned was spent on medical treatment and medication. I really didn't even want to spend money on a TV. Moreover, the wiring is old. She still remembers that in her previous life, when she woke up and came back, turning on the fan and blowing her hair with a hairdryer at the same time in summer could trip the circuit breaker at home. Chiao Kongsheng looked at his granddaughter, Ningxun, won't this cost a lot of money? Chiao Ningxun said, it's okay. After saying that, she whispered to her grandfather that she sold another 40,000 yuan of Matsu-take mushrooms yesterday. Chiao Kongsheng did not object after hearing the words. Even when Ye Kaixiang wanted to object, she also helped to persuade him. The granddaughter has her whole heart. If she refuses, she will definitely be very sad. And it is normal for the granddaughter to want to live more comfortably. While the circuit was being modified, Chiao Ningxun sent a message to Du Kunpeng, saying that she still had morels and Matsu-take mushrooms on hand. Du Kunpeng had something important in hand this time. After consulting his superiors, he sent someone to buy it, which made Chiao Ningxun earn another 300,000 yuan. She's not stupid either. Her family still doesn't have enough money, so she avoids the 2 electricians because she doesn't want others to talk about her family's affairs. She also told Du Kunpeng that if he was busy, he would not have to come over in person in the future, just ask someone from below to come over. She would not feel neglected and would understand him. 2 hours later, the line reconstruction was completed. Morals were also sold. Chiao Ningxun went to each room to check the wiring. For convenience and speed, she always asked the electrician to take the open wiring. Although it doesn't look good, it's enough for now. Chiao Ningxun said, Grandpa and Grandma, let's leave the line as it is for the time being. When I have more money, I will go to the city and buy a house for you to live in, and let you live in a big villa. It's not a good time to rebuild the house in the village. Her eldest cousin and second cousin are both coming back to live during the holidays. She also needs to take care of her health. The 2 old people and her mother are not in good health, so they can't worry too much. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 58. Chiao Kongsheng was very pleased and said, it's good if you have this intention. You save the money and use it yourself. There will be many places where you will use the money in the future, so you have to save money. Ye Kaixiang also said, yes, you will also have a family in the future, and you can keep it for your children. We are old bones, and it will be the same no matter where we live. Hearing this, Chiao Ningxun stopped trying to persuade him for the time being. From now on, she would have to kill him first and then report him later. After the wiring renovation is completed, it's time to buy various electrical appliances. Originally, she wanted to buy it online, but Jungsuan's membership card can only be used offline. She had no choice but to go to the city to buy it. As for the walls, due to the heavy rain last year that had not been seen in decades, the house was flooded and the walls on the first floor became moldy. Living in a moldy house is not good for one's health, so last year Chiao Shulan spent some money to have all the walls painted. In addition, the family takes good care of it. Now the wall is almost the same as it was after painting. There is no stain at all, so there is no need for her to deal with it. After lunch, she was just planning to go out to buy electrical appliances when her phone kept receiving messages. She opened it and saw that it was the people who had added her before. Only eat the fragrant ones and not the smelly ones. Little girl, I heard that in addition to mushrooms, you also sell vegetables at home. I wonder if you can sell some to us? I will send someone to get them myself, and you don't need to deliver them. Eat honestly every day, little girl, I want to buy groceries with you. You can set the price as you like. I will send someone to pick it up myself, and you don't need to deliver it. Look at me killing everyone. I heard your vegetables taste very good, I want to buy some. Striving for the rise of China, I want to buy some vegetables, but I don't know if it's convenient. Several other people had the same idea, and they all wanted to buy her vegetables. How is this going? How come just one day has passed and so many people want to buy her food? At the same time, Dr. Yan was also posting messages in the group. Go and ask, it's the best you can buy if you really buy it. If the vegetables at Jiaoningsun's house don't taste good, I'll be your free health consultant for a year. Then you have to keep your word. Yan Jiaxi, the boss asked us to buy mushrooms from her, and you asked us to buy her vegetables. Why are you so nice to her? Who is she to you? Chu Yanyi stared at the screen and said nothing. Yan Jiaxi, I told you, she is my patient and her family is not very well off. I just want to make her feel better. As for the boss, he must have inadvertently found out that her family was not well off when his subordinates purchased fungi from her family. So I helped her. Chu Yanyi suddenly said, it can be understood this way. The group suddenly became quiet. Ah, the boss spoke again. Boss, you've been paying attention to the group messages. Boss, can you talk more in the future? Chu Yanyi ignored those people and continued busy with his own affairs. Those people didn't feel embarrassed and all at Yan Jiaxi. From now on, my body will be handed over to you. From now on, I will also give my body to you. The group was quickly flooded with this sentence. Yan Jiaxi. A group of bad friends. To show that he was gregarious, he also sent a message to Jiaoningsun that he wanted to buy groceries. Lu Jing'ai also sent a message asking for food. Chu Yanyi, who was looking at the documents, heard his cell phone ringing. He picked it up, took a look at it, and sent a message. He also wanted vegetables. He doesn't need it, but the two old men do. One is his nominal grandfather, and the other is the old man who lives in Daguo village. Jiaoningsun took a look at the remaining vegetables in the yard. In order to make it easier to answer, she pulled all those people into a group she built, called the Jiao Family Vegetable Selling Group. At this time, those people looked at their group names and then at their friends in the group. They were originally very wary and suddenly laughed out loud. They are basically the same group, there are two of them, but one of them has Jiaoningsun. Jiaoningsun replied, I can sell you vegetables, but I can only give you 2 kilograms of each type today. If you still need them, you will have to wait until my next notification, but I still found them today. I have a lot of mushrooms, and I can give each person 5 kilograms of each kind, but the price is more expensive. Since vegetables can make money, she can ripen them like loquats at home without fear of being seen. Even if my grandparents were suspicious, they wouldn't say anything. Those people currently don't know how delicious her vegetables are, so they don't care and say they can wait. She then sent them a price list and pictures of various fungi. Her vegetables have so many benefits for the body, so the price should be higher. And those who are friends with Jungsuan's management are definitely not short of money. Eggplant, 10 yuan per caddy. Lotus white, 10 yuan per caddy. Carrots, 12 yuan per caddy. Lettuce, 12 yuan per caddy. French beans, 13 yuan per caddy. Porcini mushrooms, 301 kilograms. Morch mushrooms, 400 pounds. Matsu take, 1001 Kati. Chiao Ningsun thought about it carefully and sent another message. The price of the fungi was set by the person in charge of Junhua. I sold it to them at the same price. It is considered a wholesale price. They are all wild, so if you can accept it, buy it. People in the group got excited when they saw the picture of the fungus. Only eat the fragrant ones and not the smelly ones, there are such good fungi. Are they really all wild? Chiao Ningsun, yes, and they are all picked on the same day. The people in the group suddenly became more excited. The chicken fur was so delicious last time, these mushrooms must be even more delicious. They didn't waste any time and sent over all the kilograms of mushrooms they wanted. Chiao Ningsun replied, okay, when will you come and get it? Let's wait 2 hours to give you some time to prepare. Me too. You take your time and prepare, my people will arrive in the afternoon. I have about the same time. Chiao Ningsun felt relieved and turned around to tell her grandparents that someone would come to buy groceries later. Chiao Kongsheng asked in confusion, why do so many people suddenly come to our house to buy vegetables? Chiao Ningsun smiled and said, Uncle Du's boss introduced me. He said that he gave some of our fungi to others. He probably thought that our stuff was good, so he wanted to buy it again. I see. The two elders didn't ask any more questions and quickly went to pick vegetables. Chiao Ningsun also went to the top floor and took a lot of fungi from upstairs. Last night she told her grandparents that she was worried about naughty children coming to the house and destroying her alchemy furnace, so she got the key to the attic. Grandpa and Grandma said that the top floor will belong to her from now on, and even they will not go up there without her permission. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 59. So when she came down from upstairs to get the fungi, her grandparents were surprised, but they didn't ask much. After Chiao Ningsun divided the fungi, she saw her grandparents starting to pick vegetables, so she quickly went over to help. Everyone wants the same amount of vegetables and mushrooms, so the packing work is not difficult. Since many people came to pick up vegetables in the afternoon, and some people came to install wooden floors, Chiao Kongsheng and Ye Kaixiang went to the fields again after picking vegetables. Chiao Ningsun was reading a book while waiting for those people to come over. The wooden floor seller seemed to be afraid that she would cancel the order, so he came as quickly as possible. As soon as the two elders left, he came over to deliver the goods and install them. Fortunately, the furniture at home is old and small, and there are no bulky electrical appliances. It is easy to move, and the masters installed it quickly. People nearby heard the sound of knocking coming from Lao Chiao's house. When they came out to take a look, they saw the truck at the door again. The village chief happened to be passing by and saw Chiao Ningsun in the yard. He walked up to him curiously and asked, Ningsun, is your home being renovated? Chiao Ningsun said, just a simple tinkering, I want to change the wooden floor in my house, and make it cleaner and less damp. Oh, I see, you are a good boy. Whenever something happens in the village, many people will come to watch the excitement, and they happened to hear what Chiao Ningsun said. Chiao Ningsun glanced at the villager's eyes, which ranged from admiration to indifference. Of course, the most that can be said is that she is a fool. The meaning in his eyes is that she is just the granddaughter of Lao Chiao's family. Others have 4 sons and several grandchildren. It is not her turn to contribute money to improve the lives of her grandparents. Of course, some people looked at her 3 aunts mockingly. Huang Daniu glanced at the people next to her and said with a sinister look on her face, oh, Uncle Chiao and Aunt Ye finally got over it. Although they have a few unfilial children, fortunately, their granddaughter can be relied on. Lu Hehua, Ye Yunting, and Liu Ero were so stabbed that their faces were red, and they did not dare to continue watching the fun, so they walked away in despair. They were very happy because Chiao Ningsun spent money on their in-laws' house. Sooner or later, their in-laws' house would belong to them, which was equivalent to decorating it for them. The onlookers also left quickly. 10 minutes later, there was a knock on the door. To make it easier for people buying groceries to come in, Chiao Ningsun didn't close the door, but just kept it ajar. "Please come in." A man pushed the door open and came in. The first people to come in were two young men, followed by an old man. Chiao Ningsun stepped forward. "Grandpa, are you here to get food?" The old man nodded. "Yes, my boy asked me to get it." "What's your boy's WeChat name?" "Peace in the World and Lu Jing Ai." "The two of them? Is it Chu Yanyi who leads the world to peace?" "Yes." Chiao Ningsun was stunned. Chu Yanyi was actually the boss of the person in charge of Junhang? How come they didn't seem to know each other the last time we met? By the way, Junhang is so big, and Du Kunpeng is just a small employee under Junhang. There must be many bosses, so it's normal not to know them all. But Chu Yanyi actually has such a high position at the age of 18, and he is worthy of being a young master from a rich family. Chiao Ningsun didn't ask any more questions. "Wait a minute, I'll get the vegetables right away." After saying that, she brought over a vegetable from the yard. They wanted the same quantity, and they also asked for a lot of mushrooms. The price is a bit expensive, one serving is 9,114 yuan, the total is 18,229 yuan. Grandpa didn't say much, he just took out the cash and gave it to her. Chiao Ningsun accepted the money and sighed in his heart. He is indeed a rich man. She saw that there were only two young men behind him, and she did not see any transportation. They seemed to be walking over, and asked, "Didn't you drive here?" The old man said with a smile, "I moved here because of the family that lives behind you." Chiao Ningsun suddenly realized. She didn't see the old man's appearance when she came to ask about Xiaoiche last time. After the grandpa left, the people sent by the others soon took away all the vegetables. Some people use cash, and some people use bank transfer. After those people took away the dishes, the people who installed the wooden floor also left. At night, Chiao Kongsheng came back from the fields. Before he even entered the house, he asked expectantly, "Ningsun, how much did you sell for today?" Chiao Ningsun smiled and said, "The total is 109368. There were 12 people in the group, including her, the number was 13. Ye Kaixiang was stunned. How could he have so much money? But she soon realized, a large part of it is probably from selling the mushrooms, especially the matsu take, which is so valuable. That's right. Chiao Ningsun nodded and said seriously, "Grandpa, Grandma, I have been selling mushrooms for the past 2 days. Now the money I have on me totals more than 600,000, and my mother has 100,000. The family has a total of more than 700,000 yuan in savings." The two elders were already prepared, but when they heard their granddaughter say this, they still took a breath of cold air. Has their family become rich? Or the fungus on the mountain? Chiao Ningsun said sternly, "So, Grandpa and Grandma, let me buy all the insurance you need. The family doesn't need hundreds of thousands. If I'm lucky, I can make it back in one day." Although she can always give them money in the future. But one day before she died in her previous life, she came back here and heard their conversation. She was so envious of so-and-so in the village. The country would give them pension money every month, so they no longer had to humbly ask their children for money. Only then did she realize that her grandparents said they didn't want to cause trouble to the younger generations, but in fact they were envious of them. Furthermore, I don't know if her magical formula has any nemesis. If she loses her magical formula in the future, this will also be a lifelong guarantee for the two old people. She doesn't think that since she has magic, everything will go smoothly in the future. All things are interdependent. What if her nemesis comes out? The two elders' eyes suddenly lit up when they heard this. Yeah, it's really easy for my granddaughter to make money now. But they have already used her for hundreds of thousands, and they are really embarrassed to use her again. Chiao Ningsun was very moved when she saw them, and continued, Grandpa, Grandma, just agree. One of my mother's wishes is probably that you can live a peaceful life in old age without worrying about money. Yakaxiang hesitated, but we have a son after all. If word gets out that they don't use their son's money but have been using their granddaughter's money, they will definitely get stabbed in the back. Chiao Ningsun raised her eyebrows and said, you don't have to be burdened. My daughter, like my son, is my own child. Moreover, my surname is Chiao now, so I am your granddaughter. It is right to spend money for you. Yakaxiang was still hesitant when she saw her husband, so she persuaded her, if your child is filial, just agree. In the future, the pressure on your daughter will not be so great. We have pension money every month, and we can use the money to support our daughter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 60. Hearing this, Chiao Kongsheng had no choice but to nod. Yes, from now on all their pension money will be used to support their daughter and granddaughter's life. Chiao Ningsun suddenly laughed. Yakaxiang saw from the corner of her eye that the floor in the living room seemed different from usual. When she went in and took a look, she was stunned when she saw the beautiful and clean floor. Chiao Kongsheng was also stunned. Yakaxiang quickly came back to her senses, stabilized her mind, and asked happily, Ningsun, did you ask someone to install this? Chiao Ningsun nodded, well, this will make the home look much better. Now that we have some money, of course we must learn to enjoy it. With the floor, the humidity in the home will not be so heavy in the future, and it will be cleaner and the air will be better. Your rheumatism will not get worse. The two elders were immediately moved. Sure enough, girls are like little cotton-padded jackets, they are so considerate. Soon after, everyone who went to Chiao Ningsun's house to buy vegetables ate her vegetables. As soon as they finished eating, they sent a message to the group. Jiaxi, the vegetable store you introduced is really delicious, everyone in the family said it is good. Jiaxi's vision is good. Jiaxi, thank you for sharing such a good channel. If Jiaxi finds any delicious food in the future, please continue to introduce it to us. The mushrooms introduced by the boss are also delicious. Yes, they are all wild, especially the morels, which taste much better than artificially grown ones. The boss is the most powerful, the most powerful. For a time, the group was full of compliments. Lu Jing'ai looked at the messages in the group and said with a teasing look on his face, cousin, they are all very grateful to you, why don't you just show off? Chu Yanyi rubbed his eyebrows and said, no need. By the way, what's the feedback from the old man? His share, he gave half to Mr. Chu. Lu Jing'ai said, the old man likes it very much. He asked you to go home and visit him more often in the future. I see. Early the next morning, Chiao Ningsun wanted to buy insurance for her grandparents, so she didn't buy electrical appliances or furniture. Because they have passed the legal retirement age in China, after the one-time payment, they can receive the money starting from next month. Chiao Ningsun bought them the highest-end one, which cost the two of them more than 200,000 yuan in total. She only had more than 500,000 yuan left in her hands. As for Chiao Shulan, she can handle it later using her mobile phone. In the afternoon, Chiao Ningsun went to the city to pick out furniture and electrical appliances. By the time she finished selecting all the items, it was getting late, so she asked the merchant to deliver them at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, Saturday. Thinking that her family now had money and didn't have to save as much as before, she went back to buy a lot of food. Of course, what she bought was easy to store. For fresh food, it is better to wait until the refrigerator arrives at home before buying it. As soon as she arrived home and opened the door, she saw He Yunhui coming back. When He Yunhui saw Qiaoning Sun, he took the big and small bags she was carrying and asked with a smile, "Cousin, what delicious food did you go to buy?" He went home happily. He originally wanted to tell her about his recent studies, but his grandparents said that she had gone to the city. Seeing that every house had been rewired, my grandparents said that my cousin wanted to buy a TV, which made him very excited. His favorite thing is watching football games. Although he has a mobile phone now, watching them is definitely not as enjoyable as watching them on TV. Furthermore, Grandma said that her cousin actually bought a computer, and they now have a computer at home. The floor was also paved, so their home instantly looked much better. Qiaoningsun smiled and said, "I bought some food and seasonings, as well as snacks for you." Snack? He Yunhui suddenly opened his eyes. After putting the things in the kitchen, he started to rummage around. Sure enough, I found a large bag of snacks, including chocolate, shredded squid, wafer biscuits, crispy rice crackers, potato chips, various nuts, small cakes, etc., all of which were only available during the Chinese New Year. There are also some high-end snacks, which he has only seen when he went to the supermarket. "Cousin, you are really kind. I haven't had snacks for a long time." Qiaoningsun took the snack bag over with a smile. He Yunhui was stunned and asked a little aggrievedly, "Cousin, isn't this for me?" A 1.86-meter tall boy looked aggrieved. Qiaoningsun had goosebumps all over his body and said helplessly, "Follow me." Good. Arriving at He Yunhui's door on the second floor, Qiaoningsun pushed open the bedroom door and motioned for him to look at his desk. He Yunhui looked at it suspiciously and saw a printer and many new books on the desk. He walked over and took a look. There were a lot of printed materials on the desk, and there were several bags of test papers not far away. "Cousin, this is..." He just came back, and before he could even enter his room and say something to his grandparents, his cousin came back. Qiaoningsun then told him about buying a printer and tutorial books for him to study. "I have to say, it is really convenient to have a printer. What is on the table are the knowledge points for each subject in the first year of high school that I have compiled for you. As long as you master them all, the final exam won't be a problem." He Yunhui looked at the tutorial books and then at the test paper next to him. His face suddenly turned ugly. "Cousin, you don't actually have to spend this money on me." Qiaoningsun smiled and said, "It's okay, I have money. During the holidays from now on, as long as you complete a task assigned by me, I will give you a bag of snacks." He Yunhui sighed, "Okay, it's all up to you." Just looking at those things, he knew that his cousin had put a lot of thought into it. She was doing it for his own good, so he had no choice but to accept it. Qiaoningsun smiled and touched his head. "Good boy, you are so obedient. After dinner, you will do the questions. I will give you a surprise tomorrow. When you go to school, you can also tell me about the surprise elder brother." "Surprise?" He Yunhui suddenly became energetic and asked, "Can you tell me in advance?" "No, it won't be a surprise if I tell you." He Yunhui suddenly thought of his deskmate and asked, "Cousin, my deskmate's grades are worse than mine. I have a good relationship with him, so I told him that you helped me make up classes and asked him to. I watched the video you gave me, but don't worry, I didn't let him spread it. He watched it with me and didn't let him copy it." Qiaoningsun said, "Just watch it? You did a good job, as long as you didn't spread it or copy it." Seeing that his cousin didn't care, He Yunhui suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. That night, He Yunhui still studied until 12:30. The next day, Saturday, He Yunhui was woken up by Qiaoningsun early in the morning to do the questions. At 9 o'clock, he was doing a math problem when Qiaoningsun suddenly stood up and said, "Let's go downstairs." he and I could only be obedient. As soon as I got off the bus, I heard the sound of someone directing the car to reverse at the door.